Alright, welcome back, folks. I'm Colonial, and my war with Ulm is starting to pick up a bit. He's finally started to defend himself. In fact, this turn wasn't super good for me. I forgot to mention, one thing I did is summon a Ahurani, which is one of my national summons. I'll show you that later on. But the big deal here is the battle in Falm. Now, I got slaughtered. This is one of my two main armies. And now I'm down to one main army, but this one can rebuild itself relatively quickly. The Eagle King survived, but I lost most of my battle mages. Alright, let's take a look at the battle. A few interesting things in this battle. In fact, one thing that I do not understand. So yeah, quite a solid host. A few battle mages. He has the same number of troops as me, but less actually, but of course he has Elmish legions, I have Amazons. So when our troops bump into each other, it's not good for me. In fact, I think I wasn't very good at scripting this battle. I'll show you my scripting changes in a minute, but basically I've put them in the middle, and I wanted to put them at the back at the very least. This lightning bolt spam at the beginning was completely pointless. I dealt 4 damage to one ogre, and that's it. But there's my storm up. Okay, let's speed it up. He's got his full battle magic for the first time. His blade winds have yet to kill anyone, but his fireballs, his magma bolts are doing alright for themselves, and when he gets the falling fires and magma eruptions on board, he completely rips me apart. So yeah, I guess we'll have to wait through the battle, but there's only a few things I want to show you from this one. He's getting Strength of Giants. The Blade Winds, like I said, if I were him, I would phase them out because they do not do anything. But they're Earth only, and he has nothing much else for his Earth only mages to do. Storm Power comes up on turn 2. When I rejigger it, I make sure Storm Power comes up on turn 1. Basically, my Thunder Strikes are effective. Nothing else my battle mages do is at all effective. Smite doesn't touch, Lightning Bolt doesn't touch, so I'm giving up on that a bit. The Storm is good for decreasing his accuracy. He's missing more after the Storm comes up. But yeah, it's basically, he has as much battle magic as me, even though it might not be as good, and his troops are a million times better, so whenever our troops engage each other, he slaughters me. I'll skip ahead, actually, because I can, so I'll see you in a second when the battle has progressed a bit. No, yeah, alright. Alright, here's where things start to go badly wrong. He's been hitting me with level 4 stuff, blade winds and magma bolts and things, but now the level 6 comes out. As you see, it really does a number on my troops. Basically, when I rescript this kind of an army in the future, I will not attack at all. I'll set my guys to guard commander so that they never hopefully come in range of this level 6 horror. And then, of course, my troops are a lot weaker than his, which results in a rout right away. And that wouldn't really be a big deal. The problem, and what really makes this battle a big loss for me, is this right here. Fatigue 126. So armies of Caelum have routed, but high-value targets of Caelum are lying unconscious on the ground, ready to be slaughtered by ogres and things. I hate being defeated by ogres. Ogres are terrible. But there you go. They're actually probably good against Thunderstrike because they're large size, large hit points. Probably clever, sadly. And yeah, they charge up. Of course, all my Amazons survive. Whoop-de-doo. But yeah, I think you need to be in close range for the eruptions to go off, is my theory, so always try not to be in close range of his mages. The falling fires and the magma eruptions are really what lays down the beating. And look at this. Boom, ba-doom, ba-doom, boom, boom. Total wreck. Alright, so that's more or less the problem this turn. See you in a sec. Yeah, so that battle took place right here. If you remember, I sent this large army down there, and he had an army here, an army here. He joined them together. So what I'm doing now is I don't know if he's attacking if he's moving back to his capital or if he's attacking me. So I'm actually gonna send 2 armies, one for each. This army here is the same as the last one, but it's scripted differently. If you look at it, wait a second. Wait, maybe it's what? I thought I'd move them back to the back of the battlefield, but this looks like maybe I didn't. I must have done though. Alright, we'll see how it goes. But yeah, so I'm not doing super well. If he keeps, I mean, I still have the advantage because in the beginning of the war I pretty much rolled him over. This land is now pretty much mine. He's not bothering to fight me for it so much. That's really good, but otherwise I'm beginning to lose. Of course, the gold is not doing well as well. I'm only recruiting a trickle of Amazons. I've started recruiting a trickle of more Spire Horns as well because I think my Flaming Arrow Wind Guide army is doing much more effective against his super strong infantry. The Flaming Arrow Wind Guides do take out a lot of infantry. But one thing I'm definitely doing is I'm adding Wind Guide to my Storm army because a lot of the Thunderstrikes were missing. It only costs a gem, so I may as well. I've also changed my Amazons from Hold and Attack to Guard Commander. This means that they will never attack. They'll just mull around and wait for his guys to walk up to me, which should be a big help because as you noticed, as soon as they attacked, they got slaughtered. So yeah, there's not that much this turn. In terms of my kings, one of them is going to be on cleanup duty. He's going to conquer that, and then maybe that. 2 of them are back to the lab. Luckily, one of them can fight this turn and end up at a lab because he is... I'm sending out a king, hopefully to attack rear and slaughter a few of these annoying battle mages. We'll see how that goes down. I might lose a king. One mistake this turn is I thought he was about to stale, but at 15 minutes before the deadline he didn't stale, so I actually expected this army not to move. So I sent out a lone king, who might die. This army can either move there, or it can move there. If he attacks my capital, hopefully the king will escape, but he might die. If he moves there, the king has just wasted 2 turns. So that's more or less it for this turn. I hope that somehow I sent it in, because this is not exactly what I had in mind in terms of my forces. I kind of wanted them to be at the back of the battlefield, and it looks like they might be in the middle. So I haven't played next turn yet. We'll see how it goes down. I mean, there's a chance. If I lose both armies, I am in a bit of trouble. If I recapture his capital and take out his army, of course, I'm sitting pretty. So there's a lot on the table this turn. We'll see how it plays out. Research, Thaumaturgy, probably 2 turns away. That should help a lot, since I said this non-storm army seems to be the more effective against Alm. It's good that I'm researching to buff that army. In terms of recruitment, I'm really beginning to run low on these Air 2s, but I'm recruiting a few of the Haribs because I need to have a few on the table by the time Thaumaturgy comes out. But these will probably be the last Haribs I recruit for a while, and then I'll just center on the Air 2s, which I need as many as I can get. I'm pretty much going to be grabbing Corpus Constructs every turn forever now. My gold is not holding out enough that I have a large batch of Amazons. It's good to have some more wingless on the table. So Corpus Constructs it is. And I doubt he has the wherewithal to build a temple and start recruiting indie priests, because the war is treating him worse than me still. Alright, so that's more or less it this turn. I'll see you guys in a second. Hey, so this turn did not go terribly well. I've been kicking myself all day. Basically, I made a mistake, I think. I made a gamble I shouldn't have made, and if I have another turn like these last 2, I will be a hurting scooter. So yeah, basically what happened is I put my armies there and there. His army was there, he moved there and defeated my Wind Guide army. Now the big problem, it wouldn't be a big deal except I lost my first Heavenborn here. My hero, my worthy hero is gone. So that's really bad. It means I can't have flaming arrows anymore, actually. So I have literally been hating myself for the past couple days. Um, yeah, basically this turn I am scrambling. Um, I assume he's going to march on my capital. He has 4 turns to get there, so that gives me enough time to get some strategies on the go that I didn't have yet. Maybe do something good about that. Let's watch the battle, even though I kind of don't want to because it's a bit of an embarrassment. But we'll watch it. Yeah, I really shouldn't have attacked his capital. I was being foolish. Whenever it comes down to whether or not to do something like that, I'm always like, well, fortune favors the bold. But I'm not sure that's really true. Fortune sometimes favors the wise. And this time I was foolish. Look at that, it's a tiny army as well. But apparently these stupid ice elementals are just great against my flaming arrows. Well, I don't have flaming arrows anymore, but what was once my flaming arrows. And that's all those archers there cost as much as 1.6 kings. I also lose a king, and I lose an irreplaceable worthy hero. So this is all bad. I mean, I'm all over his territory. It's a good chance I win the war, but much lower chance than last turn, shall we say. Yeah, basically he has these Almish hosts, and they march up, and when I should be blowing up the Almish hosts so that they can't engage, instead I focus all my fire on these stupid ice elementals, and I take them out, but it doesn't matter, of course, because they come from water bottles, so they regenerate every turn, so, or even every battle. So while I'm hitting the elementals, the Maidens of Alm close and slice me up. It's all bad, and it makes me sad. But, alright, so I think I might try and pull some new strategies out of my arse. On the other hand, I'm dropping a ton of bricks on his annoying nuisance army up here. I'm dropping 2 fully geared eagles on it. Hopefully that'll work. Um, I'm expecting these 2 little warrior chiefs won't last as well because he's gonna probably cheekily march on my exposed temple here, and I've got a pile of Amazons waiting for him when he does. Um, so yeah, it's not going super well, but it's alright. Research, I don't really want to be researching up to Thaumaturgy 6 now, since the army I was helping to boost has just been slaughtered, but I'll grab it, it'll come in handy. Then I think it'll be Evocation 7 for Rain of Stones, but we'll have to see next turn. I've been forced to not do all the lab rat stuff I wanted because I had to get Thaumaturgy in 1 turn, so I'm dropping a Blight, hit his economy a wee bit, and I'm keeping up the Corpse Constructs, and that is, I think, all I'm doing aside from research this turn. Oh no, my god is bringing me up. Alright, so this water guy I summoned, I haven't talked about him yet. I was thinking we were looking at a 5-level mage. It turns out we're only looking at a 2-level mage. I was like, well, he has at least water 2, and I don't remember what else he has. Turns out he only has water 2. But he is thuggable, which is kind of weird, since he costs 15 pearls, and he's not as good as a king. But he can go underwater. What I'm going to use him for just now is he's going to be my heavy lifter in the water department. And I don't think I'll summon anymore for a while. But, yeah. Also, now that I've lost the Heavenborn, it's a bigger deal to try and get these evil summons online. So, the Death Fire ones. Where is it? I already have 2 of them. But I think the big one is the Yata. And of course, to cast these things, I need an empowerment. Either a death empowerment or a fire empowerment. And I'm hoping to be able to do a fire empowerment, but it's going to take a while. So we'll see how that goes. Alright, this turn is not a happy time for me, but that's how it is. I'll see you guys next turn. Hey folks, so you know how last turn I was in a terrible mood about my likelihood of winning this war? This turn I'm in a much better mood. So I've gotten rid of my 2H file, so I'll play a bit of the turnout in front of you here. basically, not much has changed, but what really puts me in the good mood is that he had a massive army right here, and that is 4 squares away from my capital. Boom, 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 boom. But instead of beelining for the capital with an army that I have been proven to be having a lot of trouble with, he's gone over here to the back garden to try and retake his old lands, which buys me some much needed time. So I think this war is in the bag because of his not running straight at my face. He's split up his army as well. Now, I can't do anything about this turn, but if... And it looks like, actually, I didn't quite realize how these provinces connect to each other. This, he can't connect both armies there. So this army's going to have to probably go there. This army's going to have to probably go there. And when this army's there, I think I can drop maybe 2, maybe 3 eagles on his face and take out the army. That's the hope. So we'll see about that next turn. This turn, I move these guys there, I move these guys there, and I move these guys there. So the next turn, I can unify all my forces. The one weakness of this I've thought about later, if he decides to move his capital defense there for whatever reason, which is unlikely, then I'm in a lot of trouble because this army is not really geared for war at the moment. I have a lot of gold. I didn't get a gold event, though. One thing that did happen is I got an event that gave me a castle here. I didn't show you that. That happened last turn. So now I'm up to... Where is it? Forts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 6 forts, including my capital, which is tied for the first place. So that's very good. And I have quite a bit of money, so what I do is I grab a researcher here. I grab a bunch of these these air to water ones. I grabbed 4 of them, 3 of them. Which is, I've basically decided what my next strategy is going to be, and I'm going to implement it. I'm not going to tell you exactly what it is. Hopefully you'll be able to see it. I'll just tell you it involves areas. I'm going to grab this new fort. What I'm going to do with it is not bother to put a lab, largely because I can't afford it at the moment. But even later, I don't think I'll bother. I'll just have it be only for scouts and sastiers, generals. So yeah, basically, here's what I do with my god, which will also help you learn about what my new strategy is. Summon Yazatas. I'm going to do that 3 times. I'm going to burn through my water gems to do it as well. I have, water-wise, I'm starting to really see my water power shooting up, but I'm not really going to use it for much, because as I said, I'm going to burn my water gems for pearls. I grabbed a second Robe of the Sea. Okay, in terms of the war effort, the big deal this turn is that I cloud trapezed 2 kings onto his annoying back of the lion's army here, and I slaughtered it. So let's take a look at that, Millgate. If I'm correct, no, that's... I might need to skip through the boring bits. But this does not go as expected, but I still win. I don't kill any mages, but they all retreat into enemy territory, so they die anyway. I don't really need to show you all of this, actually, thinking about it. So he's got all these mages. This poor guy names every mage as well. Painstakingly, he names them after their paths. So hammer means all earth. And my kings are just rocking random names. But yeah, this army is not really that strong. The big thing here is that he has a lot of mage support with this army, so 8 mages. And as I said, the kings don't kill a single one, but they retreat into enemy territory, and all is lost for them. So that's good. That frees up this army here to come down to the fight. These guys, I send them back to the lab. And I have them move patrol because he's successfully, down in this corner, he's taken out my temple that wasn't under a thing. Now, one would think that I'm like, shit, waste of 400 gold because he destroyed the temple. But actually, he was right here. He had the option of going there, there, or there. Because of that temple, pretty much, he decided to go there, which means that he's gone and gotten himself in a corner. It would have been a better move for him to go there, but he went there because of the temple. So in that sense, the temple almost kind of paid for itself as a distraction. It does mean that I'm far away from getting 5 temples. When the war's over, if I'm still alive, I'll whack up a few temples in Almish lands. That'll bring me up to the 5 I need to start getting a few more Iceclads. I'm not recruiting many troops. I have these troops. I'm not going to be using them much for battle. They're just going to be meat shields, so I don't really need the Zons. I'm also, of course, still recruiting these guys. Okay, you may notice I have 36 air gems, and last turn I had 0. That's because I've done a trade with with Miklin, and I'm giving him owl quills in exchange for air gems. So I'm not really getting a very good deal out of it, but what it does mean is I'm losing some research, but instead I'm forging, and this may surprise you guys, a pair of wall shakers. You may think wall shakers are stupid and pointless, because they're not as good as the Earth equivalent one at tearing down walls, and they're stupid and pointless. But you would be wrong. They are going to come in super handy, and they're worth every penny of the 30 Earth gems I'm blowing on them. The other thing I'm doing is I'm starting a new Eagle King on the go. I have 3 thugged out kings at the moment. This guy who wanders around taking over provinces, and these 2 guys who cloud trapeze onto people's heads, but I'm going to create a 4th, and I'd like to cloud trapeze him onto people's heads, but I don't think I have the air gems for it next turn. We'll see how that goes. So yeah, he's gonna dick around. Basically, this turn was the story of all his forces dicking around, digressing from their clear aim of winning the war. These 2, his main army is being stupid, in my opinion. I think this is a big error on his part, but there you go. And this army over here is also dicking around while I regroup, prepare for my next battle, and have the time needed to switch strategies. Have a bit of a later game strategy going, which you will see later. That's more or less. Of course, I did all the little things that I'm not doing for you this time when I actually sent in the turn, but that's more or less it. And yeah, this when I did this turn, my mood went from quite depressed about the situation in this game to quite happy about it. I think I'm going to do well in the rest of this war. I think that was a low point when I lost 2 armies in a row back there. And it's not really the end of the world that I lost my worthy hero. I have some firepower already. Alright, so that's more or less it. Is there anything I'm forgetting? Yeah, one thing that should have been done long ago is I'm starting to grab a few Horror Helms. Of course, Horror Helms go super well with my Eagle Kings, because the Eagle Kings are rocking Awe, and Awe and Fear combo is great. So give him Horror Helms. That'll step my thugs up a notch. Another thing that I should have been done long ago is that I'm taking my pair of Earth Boots, sending it in with the army to give my guys Legions of Steel in particular, which will be a big help in balancing the odds against, like, my Amazons are getting slaughtered by even much lower numbers of Almish, and hopefully Legions of Steel will make that a bit less. I'll still be weaker than him, but not as much. So that's more or less it this turn. I'll see you guys in a minute. Alright, this is my last turn for today. Actually, it's been a little while. I recorded this, and then when I was processing it, it messed up somehow. So I've come back a few days later, and I'm going to do this turn for you pretty quickly here. Basically, not many major battles. I dropped 3 kings on his head over here, where he had half of his main army, I believe, and I slaughtered them, but I did lose a king, which is not something that should happen every turn. In fact, it wasn't a really great trade for me at all. I just killed a bunch of Steel Maidens and Ogres and lost a king, but it did mean that I shattered his army and got my fort back. And of course, because he's not Caelum, it's much harder for him to fix an army that's in retreat than it is for me, because I can just all fly to the same place. The big thing this turn, though, is I'm getting my my strategy to finally come together somewhat. So basically the idea is I'm recruiting a bunch of these guys. And they are a troop holy with awe. And that is their main selling point is the awe. They of course fly because I'm Caelum. I'm only bringing 5 of them to the table now. I wish I could bring all of them, but I didn't realize that these stupid guys only have a magic leadership of 5. So instead I'm gonna bring a king to bolster their number, but then hopefully next turn I will have a proper bunch of them. Also, I staled last turn, and I'm gonna stale next turn. I'm staling quite a lot. It's the holiday season, and I'm just generally a bad player who stales all the damn time, so my apologies for that, but there's not much that can be done. The big deal here is that I'm bringing out this new strat that I've been keeping you in the dark about, so I'll show you the strategy. Basically, you get a bunch of Yazids, or whatever they're called, Yazids, and they fly in, and they're all over the place. Then I get a bunch of fear effects on top of it. I get terror. I'm bringing in quite a few of these terror guys, which are basically a 2 random death 2 Harib with a skull staff. They can drop terror. I'm then bringing in 2 scouts with these wall shakers. And the thing about wall shakers, everyone knows it for the fact that it breaks down walls, but it also can spam the spell Panic. So they're dropping Panic, which is a nature spell, which is pretty good at causing fear. My Haribs are dropping Terror, and my areas are dropping False Horror. And False Horrors have a fear effect. So I'm going to basically scare the living Christ out of him and then drop Awe Soldiers on his head. That's kind of the idea of this strategy. I don't have anywhere near enough Awe Soldiers. If I hadn't staled next turn, then that would be when the strategy is really coming out. As it is, it's the turn after next, I'm afraid. So we're doing an Awe Fear type of thing, but instead of giving the same guy Awe and Fear, we're just dropping some Awe guys and some Fear effects and mixing it all up. And hopefully it'll work pretty well, but we'll see in a minute. I'm attacking him here. This is, I think, most of what remains of his army, because I just made half of it run away. If he attacks me there, it's not altogether great. There's a few... I'm hoping he stays put, or that he goes there, and then we have a little game of chase. But there's a good chance he will go there. So we'll see how it goes. In fact, we won't necessarily see how next turn goes, because I staled, but we're going to jump ahead a turn, and then hopefully I didn't mess everything up next turn. But next episode we can see this strategy in full effect. So that's more or less it. Am I doing anything else interesting? No. No. I think I'm grabbing enough for another Eagle Thug, because I did just lose one. So that's pretty good. I'm also building up my earth. I realize I haven't grabbed any dwarven hammers yet because my god's been so busy. It's high time I grabbed a few of those. I'm trying not to waste any earth on gearing my eagles anymore. I'll lean on nature for that. And then the earth has a lot of uses in the future. Let's take a wee look at my research. Evocation going up to 6. No, actually, I think I'm going to go up to 7. I have Alteration 6, which I needed for the False Horrors. That's why I was going alt 6. That's good, because since I skipped next turn, I would have wasted a couple hundred points, except I think I'm going up to Evocation 7 to get Rain of Stones. And I did mention... no, that's probably the one that got lost. I think the idea is... Where's Rain of Stones? Grab Rain of Stones, and then I might even push up to 8, because I have all these water gems. And what could be a better thing than Maelstrom? So we'll see how it goes. Although I think I need Construction 6 to get up to the level of water I need to get Maelstrom. So that's more or less it. I do stale a turn. Hopefully I won't come back to find Ulm all over the place and me in ruins. But yeah, see you guys next episode.